Hey guys, wanted to make a quick video on Bitcoin and a little bit in terms of the relationship with gold. There's a lot going around online about obviously gold's had a big run, people saying that gold's going to rotate into Bitcoin, and there's a really easy way that you can actually find out which asset you want to pick. I don't agree that money's going to flow out of gold and into Bitcoin. I think gold's got a lot further to go on the higher time frames. However, if you go and type in BTC USDT against XAU USD, which is gold, you will bring up Bitcoin versus gold. Now this chart, basically what this is telling you is that if this is in an uptrend, then Bitcoin is outperforming gold. If this is in a downtrend, then Bitcoin's underperforming gold. So it's a very easy way to, for example, choosing different coins in crypto. If you weren't sure which coins you wanted to buy, you can chart them against each other and find out which one's stronger. It's a relative strength way of looking at the market. But the main thing I wanted to have a look at is this ratio and have a look at what we're actually seeing. So very simply, if we start out with just our pivot points, you can see, I'll grab a highlighter. You can see this was the bottom here, and this is where Bitcoin actually started outperforming gold. So we have sellers stepping in higher, buyers stepping in higher than they were previously, and then they're selling higher, buying higher, selling higher. We had a short pullback and retracement here where we were getting lower sells and lower buys, and then we took off again and we were up nice and high again, and then we've started to sort of change trend a little bit. You won't see it too clearly on the weekly yet because we haven't quite closed down below this last pivot. We're right there now, right at a critical point. On the daily, however, we have changed market structure. So on the daily, you can see if we get rid of those ones, you can see we topped out here. We started trending lower. You can see buyers were stepping in lower, sellers were stepping in lower, all the way down here. Then we had our reversal where we started heading back up. And then all of a sudden we topped out here and changed market structure through there. And if you take your Fibonacci tool of the move down, it was a pretty standard retracement, a bit deeper than the 618, so a little bit deeper than what you'd normally see. And then we rolled over, changed market structure, and we're bearish market structure on the daily time frame again on this chart. If we go back to the weekly of the big picture, if we grab a support zone here, you can see we had this move above. Now, there's really only two reasons you break a major support or resistance. It's either to continue the trend, which is what you would want to see in a healthy market, or if it doesn't continue the trend, it's typically to grab liquidity. Now, this is a ratio chart, so this isn't a proper liquidity grab. There's no stop losses on this chart, obviously. However, the same concepts apply. You can use all of your standard technical analysis on this, and it all works. So the fact that we've got above this zone, this previous resistance here, we've come back down within, we've got back up, tested it, and we've now fallen away is a really, really nasty sign for me, for my trading plan on what I'm seeing on Bitcoin. So this is the critical zone. If we do get a weekly close down below this, then that would be a nice big weekly change of market structure. It may even be, it's even going to be a monthly change of market structure. So 10 days for the monthly candle. If that closes below this zone, below these last candle closes, that'll be bearish market structure on the monthly. We'll have broken down through this uptrend. There'll really be no reason to be bullish on gold against Bitcoin. This doesn't mean, to be bullish on Bitcoin against gold. This doesn't mean that Bitcoin can't go up at all. However, it's underperforming a much larger, much safer asset, which tells me that it's not where I want my money. Now, based on this same theory and charting different things against each other, we can chart Bitcoin against a lot of different things. So take silver, for example. We can chart Bitcoin against silver, and you can see this is already had a bigger change of market structure on the weekly, broken down, and is already looking quite nasty for Bitcoin. This is saying that silver is now outperforming Bitcoin and has been for some time now. So not a good sign for Bitcoin. You can also go against the SPX, for example. If we go Bitcoin against SPX, you can see very clearly here, you've got a level of resistance that was formed here that turned into support temporarily. So you had sellers, buyers, and then all of a sudden they're gone. They're not buying there anymore. We've had a change of market structure, a failure swing, well, pretty close failure, non-failure. Either way, a change of market structure. Buyers had not stepped in at that level where they were stepping in, and we're now bearish market structure against the S&P 500. So that's telling you that your money is better in the S&P 500 than it is in Bitcoin right now. You can take this as far as you want, look at as many different things as you want. For example, the NASDAQ as well. If you look at the NASDAQ, it's the same thing. We're bearish market structure against the NASDAQ. We've changed market structure there. You can compare it to the Australian market if you're interested in the XJO. And it's not quite changed market structure just yet, but a candle close below this last one here, anywhere below that last candle close, and we'll have a change of market structure, and it'll be bearish against the XJO. And you can continue on and chart this against any asset that you like. A lot of people don't know about this in terms of the feature on TradingView, but it's very, very good to use when you're comparing the strength of two different assets against each other. But overall, for Bitcoin, it is not looking too pretty. If we zoom in on the daily here, what we can see is we had resistance up here. We did that same thing again where we just get above and then we come straight back down below. We've got our change of market structure in here that we've just retested today and fallen away from. So you can see very clearly here with your pivot points, we were trending sideways, right? And then buyers stepping in here, sellers stepping in higher, buyers stepping in higher, all of a sudden selling higher. So things were looking okay. We came straight back down, changed market structure through here, and we're now in a downtrend on Bitcoin on the daily time frame. So this is very, very simple market structure. This is nothing fancy. This is not any fancy indicators or anything like that. Very simple market structure and following trends. I don't think, unless we can get a fairly quick recovery on Bitcoin here and we do something like this, if we do manage to bounce off this little level of support here, come and get back above and change market structure back through there, that'll be a bullish case again, that we might actually continue higher. Unless that happens though, I'm very bearish on Bitcoin. It's underperforming just about most other assets that I've put it against to try and find comparisons and relative strength. It's not doing well. On top of that, you've also got USDT dominance. This chart, let me clean this up, bit of a mess. This chart is currently in bullish market structure. So you can see this was your bottom here. You had sellers stepping in equally there. So selling equally, buying higher here, selling higher, buying equal here at the same level, selling higher, buying higher, selling higher. So far USDT dominance is in an uptrend, which is bearish for crypto overall. So I'm not liking this at all. I don't think it's going to be a good time for Bitcoin in the coming days and weeks unless we reclaim that key level as I showed you on the Bitcoin chart there. So that's my take for now. I think we've got more downside coming. I think the top is probably in for now, but I'll react to data as it comes out and see where we go from there. Thanks for watching, guys. Cheers.